So why are you burned out and overwhelmed? I want to share with you the 3 reasons why and the 3 things you need to know to completely transform your life. Okay, so number 1, understanding the nature of reality. Why is this important? There is a depth in the way that we approach life every single day based on the way that we believe. If we believe that the nature of reality is that everything is against us, life is always fighting us, or there's a curse against me and these things like this, right? We start to see that more often in the world. We start to see that every day in our life. The things we focus on are the things that we create. Okay? So I want to share with you something from my story. My child, my 9-year-old daughter, right? My 9-year-old daughter who is a talker. Her name is Shanti. She's like this go-getter, stands up for what she believes in, constantly talking, constantly like speaking her words, speaking her truth, saying what it is, saying what she wants, saying what she just keeps going and going. That girl can talk, right? All right. That can be a bit much. That can be a little bit much when you're, trying to balance all the things you got to do as a parent, and maybe you're working. For me, I work from home through coaching and through in music, right? And so a lot of times I'm at home if she's home, and it's like she can be very overbearing. And there was this one time that she was telling me this important story. It was very important to her about her and her friend, and about something they were doing at school. And I was listening, but then I would kind of fade out, and I would start, trying to focus on what I was doing, and I would only partially hear, but that chatter, that talk is still always there, right? And so over time, it started to build up, and it started to get on my nerves, and I wasn't conscious at that moment. I didn't recognize that she's talking constantly, and then like I'm trying to focus, but I can't, and I'm getting anxious, and I'm like. So eventually what happened is I kind of like blew up on her, right? It's like, Shanti, stop talking, be quiet, right? And I realized in that moment, right at that moment, I had done something to her that I experienced as a child as well from one of my parents, right? At some point, I stopped feeling hurt. I started having dreams. That really did something to me along the way throughout my life that made me feel like I wasn't heard, right? And I realized that I had just done that to my daughter, or potentially caused, what we would call a trauma, a subconscious trauma. I realized that it was the way that I was perceiving her, my daughter, Shanti, that was really the problem. It wasn't her talking. It wasn't me doing things while she's talking, or needing to focus on what I was trying to do, or stop doing what I'm doing, or any of that. It was actually just the way that I perceived her. And so in me perceiving her as a pain in the butt, a nuisance, aggravating, frustrating, all these things, she's keeping me from doing what is so important in front of me right now, right? All the while, I'm ignoring or only partially listening to my daughter, something that's very important to her. An amazing quote that I had heard when I was a really young kid from Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer, right? I know there's a ton of you out there who know who that is. If not, definitely go check out Wayne Dyer. But he used to say, and he said on stage one time, it was a seminar that he was doing. It was called The Power of Intention. He said, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So in that moment that I yelled at my daughter, all of this went through my head. I realized it was the way I was perceiving her. I was perceiving her as a pain in the butt. Be quiet, don't talk, stop talking. I was training her to not be heard, or feel like she can't be heard, basically. And so scientifically we know when we look at a molecule with a specific emotion, it alters the way that molecule behaves. So if I look at it with anger or frustration, it behaves in a specific manner that is not conducive to its growth. If I look at it with love and affection and joy, it literally alters the way that the molecule behaves. It begins to grow. It begins to optimize itself to be extremely healthy and abundant in life, right? So, in that moment, I changed the way I saw my daughter. I saw her passionate about what she believes in, and I know she's always, very stubborn and strong-willed and like hard-headed. She just sticks to what she wants. It's like she can't budge her, right? And a lot of times I'm like, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, and you gotta put. But I realized if I just see her as this leader, this empowered leader who's standing up for what she believes in, then I'm training her. I'm not even training her. I'm allowing her to be who she is. I'm allowing her to be guided to stand up for what's right. She's going to be a leader in the world. She's going to lead thousands and thousands of people, be an example for thousands and thousands of other little girls to become empowered women leaders in the world, right? If I just step back and I don't shut it out, and I just allow her and truly attentively listen, give her the time of day. So the way that I perceive reality, if I understand the way reality works, that in which I focus on becomes my reality. Quantum physics proves this. Like, this is not a new thing, right? So that's number one, understanding the nature of reality. Then we're not overwhelmed. Then we embrace every moment as if it's this beautiful gift being given to us for what we need. Even though our ego might say, I don't want this, I want something else. If we just, and we're going to get to the next steps that help us with this understanding. But if we can just allow, through the understanding of the nature of reality, a deeper understanding, and really start to embrace that understanding. We may not believe it yet, but if we can just start to embrace that and see what shows up, I guarantee it will start to change, okay? So the number two thing to embody to overcome burnout, overwhelm, is having a vision of purpose. And the number two reason for the cause of overwhelm and burnout is not having a vision of purpose. Not having a North Star. We need a North Star. We need something that is going to drive us so passionately, with so much inspiration, that we have no other choice but to be motivated and be disciplined in what we're trying to achieve, right? I'm going to give you a great example of when I failed at this, right? I was a quarterback in high school, starting quarterback. I was supposed to be the captain of the team, lead the team, right? And I had my great moments. I had a lot of good things about what I did athletically and as a leader and positively and all these things. But when it came down to it, I remember I think it was our last football game I ever played. And it was in the playoffs, second game of the playoffs. And we were losing. And I was getting sacked multiple times, right? And what I did, looking back now, I see what I had done throughout my high school career as an athlete, as a quarterback, being quarterback for 2 years in high school and also playing varsity as a sophomore. I always felt like I needed to take it into my own hands. Not only did I do that, but I also blamed my teammates when something was going wrong. So in that very moment when we're down, we're losing, I'm getting sacked as the quarterback, right? I'm blaming my linemen for not doing their job. And the way that I am coming off to them is not leadership, and it's not empowering, and it's not motivating for them to maybe do a little better, right? And so what do? I'm playing victim in that moment. I'm getting sacked every play, so I'm a victim. I'm like, you're to blame, But then what I did is I took it into my own hands, right? I became the achiever. If you're not going to do it, I'll do it myself, right? And this is what we do in life. And so what did I do? Every time that I was going to get sacked, I would just take the ball and I would run. And yeah, I'd get a lot of yards. I had a lot of rushing yards as a quarterback, right? That whole season. That's what I would do. I would just take it into my own hands and I would run the ball. But that was only due to my incompetency in leadership. Why was I incompetent as a leader? I looked back on it many times to figure out what that was that caused this. It was my lack of vision, of purpose. Why was I there? What was the whole purpose of me being there? What was I really focused on what we were trying to achieve together? Or was it more about me trying to be a star, or trying to be a big shot, or trying to do good and try to win, right? I can recognize now that I was focused on myself, having the glory, having the praise, having the, achievement. I wasn't focused on the team working together to become a powerful unit, a united team to achieve a goal. In that would have been far more love, far more brotherhood, far more achievement, far more success, not only as a team, for the coach, for the other players who potentially could have gone farther in college. Now, I don't, hold that all on my shoulders, but I'm just saying, we look at the outcome of what we're trying to achieve, potentially what it can be if we were to just allow ourselves to be in the present moment with the vision of purpose, a North Star. That's the only inspiration that will drive us to do what's hard, to do what's truly needed when we can take the alternative to do the easy thing. So, number 2 is North Star, vision of purpose. Number 3, this leads us into number 3, surrender, trust. To surrender your control over things and trust that there is a power that is guiding every step of the whole thing, allowing everything to unfold exactly as it should be. Earth unfolds itself as it should, right? Life unfolds itself as it should. Now, many times this is misunderstood and also underrated as well. So it's misunderstood because it's like, well, let go and let God, so we don't do anything, right? Now, that's one of the greatest sayings you could live by if you truly understand what it means. Let go and let God. Now, whether you call it God or universe or unified field or whatever it is you call it, if I let go and let God, God shows me the next step to take. God shows me where it is that I'm maybe a little incompetent that I need to work on. I am shown, it is revealed to me where I need to go, what I need to do. It's not always the most comfortable either. And if I understand the nature of reality, that it's always working for my greater good, and the way that I perceive it, it actually unfolds that way. I understand I have a vision, a North Star vision of what I'm trying to achieve. And then I understand that on every step of that journey, there is a benevolent power that is guiding me the entire way. If I compose those 3 things, and I focus solely on those 3 things, burnout and overwhelm, they go out the door. Because even though it's going to be hard, even though there's going to be struggle, even though it's going to be a challenge, you embrace it because you know it's for your greater good. You know that finally tackling the creative journey you want to go on, even if you're a parent, if you're a leader, if you're someone who is working non-stop trying to achieve all these goals and success for your family, for your children, for your, whatever, but you haven't taken the time to really tap into What are you actually being guided to do right now? Is it to slavishly focus on all of the stress and work and all these different things going on, and is anything that you're stressing about going to become better by you stressing? So when you realize that benevolent power is always guiding you every step of the way, it's not even necessarily that you have to have guidance outside, like some sign out here. That's great, that they show up. Synchronicities happen all the time, every moment actually. But maybe it's just within you. You start to recognize, you start to listen to the proper voice. You know which one's the ego and which one's love. That's a great way to understand it. Which one's ego and out for the selfish motive, selfish thing, or maybe even what you would call a limited understanding, and which one is limitless? Which one is love? So I want to share with you an amazing experience I had with understanding the process of surrender. About 23, 24 years old, I was on this really epic journey of, spiritual awakening. And I was trying a lot of things, a lot of hallucinogenics, trying to experience this higher power. And I'd had a lot of experiences throughout my life naturally as a kid growing up, which is part of what it was like when I started growing up, and I had a child at the age of 19, my beautiful daughter. My wife now, who was my girlfriend at the time, we were struggling like crazy to try to make things work. And I was on this journey of trying to discover who the heck I am supposed to be in this life, and how am I going to connect to this higher, greater power, this source, this force of reality, this force of power that is within me. And I keep seeing it all outside of me, and everything's one, and I'm recognizing all this greatness. And but then I fall back into this slump, this down version of myself. And a friend of mine called me. He said, "Hey, do you want to come try this stuff?" And I was like, "Sure." It was DMT, right? And I went and we tried I tried it. They had all these epic stories about what was going to happen to them, right? And what they had experienced, or what was going to happen to me, and what they had experienced, and all this epic going through the portals and going through the universe and all these different things that I had small glimpses of myself through different experiences, even naturally, as I said, as a child. But this moment I was like, okay, this is going to be powerful, right? And I'm ready to go on this epic journey. And I try it, and I'm waiting, and all of a sudden I forget where I am. Everything becomes just pure light. I don't have a body. I'm completely engulfed in light, and I feel like I'm in this egg, like this embryo or egg of light. I feel very warm, very comforted, and there's this beautiful humming sound, like very soothing, like washing over me, washing through me. It's coming all through me. And it's just this it's unexplainable how much love and joy and comfort there was in that. And the moment that I felt like, isn't there supposed to be something else all of a sudden? Because I was just solely focused on that beauty, that joy, that light, that love, that warmth. But the moment ego came in and said, hey, isn't there supposed to be something more than this? There was a voice that said, you don't need to know anymore. You need to surrender. I'll guide every other step. Obviously, it didn't say it with words. It wasn't like I heard this voice talking. It was a knowing. It was a super conscious knowing that was translated to me through the logos, through the word, through the Shabbat, the Nam, the Holy Spirit, right? Through that power, translated something to me that led me on the next journey that I was to go on, which was to embark on a journey of putting myself to true practice, true spiritual practice, meditative practice, which is a whole nother story in itself, transformed my life forever, right? But that moment, I realized that I didn't need to keep trying to get this, get that, have this experience. And I had to learn that journey many times more along the way, don't get me wrong. But that moment has always stuck with me. Just surrender, let go. Let go and let God, right? It doesn't mean that we just give up and that power just does everything for us. It means it's priming us to be its host. It's priming us to be great. It's priming us to be the best vessel possible for that love to flow through us, to our children, to those who we lead, to our audience if we're creative. So those three things, okay, understanding the nature of reality, having a vision of purpose or a North Star, and learning to surrender. Surrender to that purpose, surrender to that power. And you can't have one without the other, you gotta have all three. So I hope this was of help to you. Right now I'm working with a select number of people on 1-to-1 5-day free mini challenges to walk you through a process that I've developed that has brought myself and many other of my students such empowerment and joy and inspiration and awakening in their lives. They've overcome fear, they've overcome burnout, they've overcome overwhelm, they've obtained a level of confidence in their life, not only in parenting, but in leadership and in creativity and audience building, growing an audience for yourself. I just want to share this information with you, in this process with you, this powerful framework that is really a game changer for myself and a lot of people. And if you're interested in that, just leave a comment below saying, I'm ready. That's a key word right there, I'm ready. And that's you making a declaration for yourself and the next step in your process to just obtaining a new level of joy and confidence in your life. So I hope this was of help to you. And if so, like and subscribe. And I wish you a lot of love and blessings, my friend. All right.